Hello everyone and welcome back to SGTV. We have Amy Barrett-Singh joining us in the studio today. So Amy, I want to talk to you today about different ways of becoming an electrician and training to become an electrician. Okay. So let's start off with how you got into it, how your training came about.
I trained at college full-time. I did level 2 and level 3 electrical installation, which took 2 years, 3 days a week at college. And then I started working. So I didn't go down the traditional apprenticeship route, but I would probably definitely recommend that route for people, especially if you're younger, if you're a school leaver, or under 25 really, 'cause you can get funding and stuff. I think you learn more because the way that you do it. Like in college, I didn't feel like I really learned a lot. I felt
practical ways.
Yeah, practical. You obviously do practical work, but you don't really learn anything until you're on site doing it. You know, it's hard to, from working on a board this big, it's hard to put it into a real life experience.
You've got obstacles and joists and
yeah, exactly.
all that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's just completely different. So I think I felt like college was something that I just had to do and pass to get to the next stage where I was actually working and learning. And I still went through doing all the rubbish jobs for rubbish money for, you know, at least my first sort of year. And then it started to pick up. I mean, it's not great, but yeah, for school leavers and younger people, I definitely recommend the apprenticeship route. I think it's more sort of well-rounded way of learning.
Do you think training later in life rather than like a 16-year-old gave you like a mature edge over other students?
Definitely. I don't know if it's a personal thing, but I couldn't have done this when I was 16, 17. I can see why there's not many girls coming through doing apprenticeships in trades, because it is intimidating. It's difficult right from the beginning. I know that at that age I couldn't have enrolled in college, being the only female in class, even if I was the same age as them, being the only female, well, really in the college, because all of the courses that are run from that college are all the trades. So there was all plasterers, carpenters, everything there, and there was no girls there. I think the only females in the building were the 2 ladies that worked in the canteen. So yeah, it is intimidating it will be intimidating for young girls. I can see why they'd be put off.
So how long did it take you to complete your training from start to where you are now? Because an apprenticeship can take, what, 4 years, is it?
Yeah, 4 years.
So how long was it for your route?
So I did it took 2 years of college.
That full time?
Yeah, well, it's cool. It's full time, but it's 3 days a week in college, and then you do your coursework or whatever in your own time. I mean, I guess people work while they're doing it, but I didn't have a job and like an electrical job while I was doing it. I didn't get it until I think I had a week left at college when I got a job. Sort of like yeah, sort of like an electrician's mate type thing, and that's when I really started learning. Yeah. So yeah, I'd say you'll get a better education, understanding of the job going down the apprenticeship route, and I would recommend that. It's just at the time for me, with my age and like my whole sort of personal situation, I just couldn't do it.
Do you think there's one better way than the other, like adult learning courses, college courses, apprenticeships? Obviously all of them are going to be tailored to where you are in life, but do you think one of those trumps the others?
Doing the full apprenticeship through college is definitely the best way to go. I don't really agree with all, you know, do these short courses online and stuff. I don't understand how you can learn even 10% of what you need to know to be safely working on site. So I wouldn't really recommend them. So I think the way I've done it is sort of in the middle, and I know that lots of people don't agree with it. You know, they say that everybody should have the MVQ and go down the apprenticeship route, but for some people, your situation just doesn't allow that. And
yeah, it's something we spoke about a few times as well, though, is someone like yourself who wants to do that course, wants to become an electrician, and is determined to reach those goals, might have more, you know, of a reason to do it than a 16-year-old on an apprentice. And that's not to say all 16-year-olds are like that, because they're not. So many of them out there are determined and focused, more so than a lot of people. Yeah. But like we say, it can vary, and that's the beauty of having these options.
Yeah, I think your attitude towards it, and a person's sort of determination and ambition is a lot to do with it. In my situation, I was so determined to do well because I had people that were sort of being a bit negative about it, saying that I shouldn't really do it and it's not really for me and whatever. So I was really determined to do well, and also I put a lot of money into it. So, you know, I really tried, you know, I really studied hard. I did really well in my exams. I was really proud of myself. And then there was lots of people in my class, in my course, that just weren't bothered at all.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's you know, when you leave school at 16 and you've got to go somewhere for 2 years, and I think some of them just, oh, there's a space on that course, I'll go on that.
What's the sort of ballpark figure that someone would be looking at to do the kind of courses that you've done, in case anyone out there is thinking of doing it and that might be an obstacle they're worried about?
I think it's for over 25s, you have to pay the full fees. So I'm not sure if it's the same now, because this was a few years ago when I did it. I think for doing level 2 and 3, I paid about £5,000. So it's not like pennies, it's a substantial amount of money. So, I mean, you're not messing about when you get there. You know, I worked hard. And
do you know if there's options for people below 25, if there's any kind of schemes or help
I
out
think
there?
you can get funding. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure because obviously it didn't apply to me, so I didn't look into it. But I think under 25s can get government funding.
Are there any things you wish you knew going into it that you look back now and think, you know, wish I'd have been told that to start with?
There's things, when I look back now, I wish that I'd handled differently. Like through college, you know, I sort of just put up with how rubbish the college and the course was organised. I'm not sure it's not like that at every college. I don't want to put people off going. But I wish that I'd sort of put my foot down and, you know, said to someone, you know, this isn't good enough at the time. And also, like my first position in work, you know, with this, I had some trouble with this guy, and if I could go back, if I was in that situation now, I'd handle it a lot differently. You know, I wouldn't take any rubbish off people, because I think, I don't know, at the time I sort of felt like, oh, maybe this is something you have to go through, maybe I deserve this, something everyone has to go through at the beginning of the start. But now I see that it's not, it's just unfortunate that I met someone that was just...
Yeah. I mean, we sort of touched on this, but I was going to say, are there any tough obstacles, or the toughest obstacle you faced in training? Would that be that for you? Horrible people?
I'd say so, yeah, because it can really put you off. It's when you start work, it can be really intimidating. You know, you imagine turning up on a site in all your new gear, with all your new tools, not knowing anyone, being the only female. And you walk, like, I parked up and I got out the car and everyone does like a double look, like, oh God, there's a girl here. And it's a bit sort of intimidating and embarrassing at the beginning. I've got used to it now. It doesn't really bother me. But like I said, I can imagine that for younger girls, I know I couldn't have done it. So I think that's probably the main thing that puts girls off getting into trades, because the intimidation. And
yeah, just don't let it. Learn from Amy.
Yeah, just...
When we're talking about like the learning and education, did you find there was any specific methods or anything that helped you sort of just get your head around things, like a tough type of install or understanding certain things?
I was always better with the practical stuff, I think, than the sort of theory of it, because I've got terrible concentration. I just asked for help all the time. There's stuff that I was stuck on, like never feel stupid asking questions. The stuff you don't get, you're never going to get it unless you ask someone. And I would, you know, there was one tutor that I found was, you know, sort of better than all the rest, and I'd go to him and get him to explain something to me. If I didn't get it, I'd say I don't get it and explain it again. I was lucky that both my brothers were electricians as well, so I could ask them stuff. But a lot of the time you get, they'd say, oh, I don't know, I've not done that since I left college 10 years ago. You never use that on site. I don't know why they're still teaching that. And you get that quite a lot, which is a bit sad because you spend a lot of time learning it. But yeah, ask questions. There's so many different places you can get information from people, or, you know, books, internet. There's just...
Was there any specific places, you know, websites or teachers or friends or who really helped you? One that you thought, right, that's definitely sort of teed me up for the real world?
Yeah, I've got one of my friends, best mates, he's moved to Australia now. He was good. I could ask him any questions. He was the same though, he wasn't good with theory work. And we'd sit and look at all my folders together and he'd be like, oh, I'm not really sure. But But he was good because I could always ask him a question and never feel stupid, which I think is a big thing. And then, like, as time goes on, I've met so many people now. I've got a really good sort of network of support. I'm really lucky. Like, this last week, I worked with Ricky from RJ Homes one day, and I asked him questions all day, and I kept saying to him, "Am I annoying you?" And he's like, "No, ask away." He's great. Mark at Apprentice 1-to-1, I text him in the week to ask him something because he's great and never makes you feel stupid. Like, you can't ask him a stupid question, he'll answer anything, and he knows everything. He's brilliant. I've asked Nick Bundy for help, and Sam.
I hope all these people are liking this video and commenting, give us good shares and everything.
They're probably all talking about me, probably sick of me. Amy, any questions? But yeah, as you meet people, ask questions.
Were there any shocks when you came out of learning and into the real world, so to speak, of becoming an electrician? Were there any things that really you weren't expected for? I know we've touched on nasty people, but any practical elements?
Not really. Like, I didn't really think through like working outside all winter. Like, that's been a killer. That's really. But no, I think, you know, because my brother's electricians, I sort of knew what to expect in the job.
You hear their complaints and things they do like,
and
I suppose.
Then talking about stuff, and you automatically just learn about stuff about other trades, and so I've gone off and done all sorts of different work, and I've really enjoyed it and really loved it. I've done all sorts.
What about money? Again, I don't want you to tell everyone out there what you've got in your bank account or anything like that, but it's going to be different when you're first qualified to where you are in 10, 15, or even just a few years. So do you find there's much of a change from the moment you came out of education to where you are now? And was it worth it?
It was definitely worth it. You've got to expect to go through that stage, however you train, where you're going to earn rubbish money. You're going to be doing the rubbish jobs and earning rubbish money, and that's just the way it is. You've got to expect that and accept it. I did that. It's hard as an adult. You know, you've got bills to pay and whatever. It is
expensive taste. And
yeah, it is difficult because you see all these tools, you want all these tools, you can't afford them. But yeah, things get better. I think, well, if you do an apprenticeship when you're young anyway, it's a natural way of doing it.
It is different when you're younger, isn't it?
Yeah, you live at home with your parents, you haven't got the bills, you're not used to earning, you know, better money. When I started, I was probably earning half of when I started my first electrical job, I was probably earning half of what I was earning in my previous job, so it was difficult, but I wanted to do it. I was determined, I stuck with it, and you know, it gets better and better.
I suppose you had to do loads of saving, budgeting, all that kind of thing. Not much fun.
Sell my nice car.
Yeah. Before we finish this episode, any tips you would give to anyone training, whether that's an apprenticeship, adult learning courses, your route going through colleges, any tips you'd give to them?
I'd do this a lot earlier and do the apprenticeship route. That's what I'd recommend to anyone. Everyone I spoke to and met, I feel like they've probably gained more from doing it that way. It is tricky doing it the way I've done, and you do get some negative comments about it, people that don't agree with training this way. As in advice for people, work hard. If you don't understand stuff at the beginning, because I found that I was skipping stuff that I thought I should know this, and I'd be worried to ask someone because I thought I should already know this. They're going to think I'm stupid if I don't know this, and then it always comes back later, and you think, oh, I wish I'd just asked at the time, because now I'm going to look even more stupid.
Just don't be afraid to ask.
Don't be afraid to ask questions. Keep on top of all your work. Build up a reputation right from the beginning of being hardworking, arriving at jobs on time. If you get picked up, if you're an apprentice, gets picked up by someone, you know, be outside waiting on time, just have a good attitude to stuff.
Yeah, stick to all that, then you can afford all them nice shiny tools.
Yeah, you need tools.
Okay, I hope you've all found that useful. That's been Amy Barrett-Singh here on SGTV. We've got more episodes featuring Amy, so keep an eye out for those. Also, you can find Amy on Instagram and YouTube at
Amy the Sparky.
Amy the Sparky, so keep an eye out for that. There'll be some great content there. And again, we want to thank you for watching. Make sure you please like, subscribe and hit the notification button below, and we'll see you next time.